Hello, hello. Great day, everyone. Rhonda Y. Williams here with your pre Coffee with Rhonda show espresso shot today. So, what's in your cup? By that, I mean, what is the BHAG that you have your sights set on right now? For those of you unfamiliar, a BHAG is a big, hairy, audacious goal. Whatever it is for you, I want you to know that the heart of your any big accomplishment, the driving force behind it, is self leadership. At its core, self leadership is really about the art of taking ownership of your life, your goals, your dreams, your actions, your behaviors. So, where are you going? Self leadership means there's no more excuses and no pointing fingers, only a resolute commitment to accomplishing your big goals and dreams. So, today on episode 103 of the Coffee with Rhonda show, we're going to get inspired talking about those big goals and dreams because there are no excuses, only opportunities. And with that, let's get ready to lead above the grind. All right. Great day, everyone. Super excited to be here with you for another episode of the Coffee with Rhonda show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are your cup full of inspiration, revelation, and wit for today's savvy leader. And we are excited because today is season 9, episode 103 of the Coffee with Rhonda show. Before we introduce our co host and our guests, a couple of housekeeping items. You know the deal. If you're out there, pause right now, like and share the video. I promise you there is something here that someone else will want to hear. Also, take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can get there really easily at coffeewithrondashow.com. So, my name is Rhonda Y. Williams, and I'm your host for the show. And my past experience as a chief nursing officer and a hospital CEO taught me a lot about stress, not always in a good way. So, today, I really advocate for operating at a very high level, but really with a focus on well being as well as high performance. So we do that at Above the Grind Leadership. We are a global strategic consulting and training organization. And we help you do just that. So if you want to learn more about the work we do in the world, you can visit us at atgleadership.com. Today, I am on the road, and you all can see, looks like a hotel room behind me, right? So I am on the road in the hotel room, and honestly, I just got boring old hotel coffee. There is nothing fun or exciting happening in this cup. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening with me. So let's introduce our co-host and Murray. Good evening. Good evening to you.
Good morning to you. It's evening time here in Perth, Australia, 10 p.m. This is Murray Tulekima, the greatness engineer, as you know me. And I am an engineer, obviously, but also an entrepreneur. But I actually focus on a woman in male-dominated environment, helping them to be visible and to step into their greatness. And today I'm drinking water. So that's nothing special today, just water.
So you don't have anything special in your cup either. So
Nothing special.
okay, so let's introduce our special guest today, and I'll do a quick introduction, and then we will welcome into the coffee table. So our special guest today is Jason Hill. He's a tech entrepreneur, podcast host, and founder of the OWL app, revolutionizing connections through instant one-on-one audio calls. With features in prominent publications like Forbes and the Wall Street Journal, he's recognized for his forward thinking use of technology. Through his nationally syndicated podcast, the Boca Raton Shrimp Tank and the Owl podcast, Jason has conducted over 300 interviews, showcasing his commitment to highlighting the stories of CEOs and entrepreneurs and experts while fostering relationships in the business community. Jason, welcome to the coffee table.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited. A year ago, around there, I remember running out with my kids, and I saw you go live on the Owl app, and it was those early days where every person mattered. I was like, we got to get them on calls. We got to show them the benefits of the platform. And I remember you having a guest on your show, and I was giving you some tips on what to ask that guest. Of course, my background of being a financial advisor came through during your show and give you some tips on what to ask that individual. So excited to be on the other side and be on your show today.
Thank you so much for being here. So, Jason, tell me, do you have a cup? And what do you have? You held up something. What's in that cup?
Yeah, I have a little bit of everything. I got Starbucks over here, and I got my water over here. And also, look at this. I took a picture so I could show the audience. I have a beautiful little coffee bar right there.
Oh, yeah.
So people are lucky.
If you look closely, see all the different syrups right there from Starbucks, right? We have a shaker. Barista. We got the beautiful ice maker right there. We got the mini fridge. So yeah, I'm a big coffee fan. That's what the episode's going to be about today.
Absolutely.
Quality coffee at your office, right?
Did you catch the funny at the end of the intro? The funny we do at the end of every one of our openings.
Yeah.
Like it. Awesome. So let's dive in and get started today. We're going to talk a lot about the Owl app. Genius doesn't have one decaf. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. A fellow coffee enthusiast. Absolutely. So we're going to talk a lot about the app today, and we're going to connect it to leadership, Jason, because I know that you've been building and growing this, and you've got some lessons to share with us. Before we do that, let's say good morning to a few folks out there. Mom is out there. Hey, Mom, good morning. She says, good morning. Nothing in my cup until afternoon. It's a God thing, but excited as the show has life. Each episode takes us on a new journey. That's awesome, Mom. Thanks for tuning in. Christopher is out there, my dear friend and mentor and brand guru, all things extraordinary. Hey, great to see you. Rock and roll, Jason, he says. And Antonio, hey, Antonio, nice to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. We're LinkedIn fans, and so we connect and chat a lot on LinkedIn. So thanks so much for tuning in. So I want to get started because Jason, you sent us a quote, and I asked every guest for an opening quote, and that's where we begin. So let's share your opening quote, and then after we do this, Jason, I'm going to ask you why this quote, why does this stand out, and why is this meaningful for you? So we'll share that now. For those of you listening later on audio only format, it says you go, you get. You go, you get. And so, Jason, now I'm really interested in understanding more of what does that mean and where did that come from?
Yeah, so when I was a child, I would be brought all over South Florida to flea markets and garage sales. I was raised in New York by an entrepreneur. My father, he ran a store in New York City called Captain Hooks, and he would just go to all these locations. There was no eBay back in the day in the 70s and 80s and 90s, right? I was born in the 80s. And, he just taught me, like, you go and you never know what you're going to get at the end of the day. So sometimes when I was a young child, it was like a remote control car, and I was so excited to get home and play with my cars and my toys. And I just learned a valuable lesson from my father, which was just, go into opportunities without expectations, right? That's the analogy there. And when we look at Owl, it's the same thing. People go in thinking, oh, what is it in it for me? If I call this person, and I always say, you can't judge a book by its cover. If you call someone like yourself, Rhonda, you just don't know what will come out the other end. Maybe you're going to get an opportunity to meet Rhonda in person. Maybe you're going to meet at the next convention, if it's related to wealth management, for example, maybe it's to get her, on your podcast show or vice versa to be on your show. But I always really believed in just, going in without expectations, and you just can be amazed by the results that could come out. So I'm a big
Mhm.
fan. You go, you get, and I've seen that through my career in multiple directions with Owl in the financial service space. And of course, when I moved to Florida, right, I put myself out there through podcasting, and really I've turned the corner after 300 episodes on the Owl podcast or the Shrimp Tank, just really, being there for others and really just, putting myself out there, right?
Mhm.
Mm,
That's really it. And good things come
I
from that
love
when you
it.
do.
I love it, Jason, because going in, Murray, going
Mhm.
into something without expectations is not an easy thing to do. So it
It's not.
sounds a bit easier, Jason, than it actually is.
Mhm.
And Murray, I know that as you, I see you show up in a lot of different seasons
Mhm.
and places, and I feel like this is something that you embody as well.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I embody. And me, my personal motto is don't leave anything on the table of life. Whatever you have, just go and get it and then do something with it. And I think it's really related to what Jason just said is that, you don't have to go with
Yep.
any expectation. Just show up and then grab whatever you have in the table. Don't leave it, and then you run with it. And that's really how
Yes.
you start to create some the thing amazing things and really create value for others, and then it actually bounce back with with positivity for you.
Yeah, no, I love it. I believe that too, and I'm practicing every day. No expectations, no expectations, no.
Mhm.
It's something I have to repeat to myself to just go in, and there's a freedom in that, right? And releasing
Mhm.
everything that comes with it. But Jason, why the Owl app? Tell us what inspired you to create this app, and then also be sure for those that are not familiar with it, just sort of recap on what is the app, because we want people, if you don't have the Owl app and you're out there, we definitely want you to sign up today. So tell us a little bit about that, Jason.
Yeah. So Owl is the first platform that I'm aware of that you could log into right now and look at different experts that are available to speak to one-on-one. And those experts set their price at any level they want. They could be as little as $1 for a 10-minute call, or $1,000 for a 10-minute call, or $10,000 for a 10-minute call. Right, that expert chooses what they want to put on their call for a 10-minute price, and then once you are on a call with that individual, you could request more time. So it really creates
Mhm.
great boundaries for the person who's making the call. And it also creates boundaries for the expert, because if they have another meeting coming up, they might just start with 10 minutes and nicely decline and say, sorry, I have another meeting. Or they might not have wanted to extend it. They weren't feeling comfortable on the call. They also get to leave a review for one another at the end of the phone conversation. So it's really helping people build connections and rich relationships quicker than other platforms. When we look at platforms like LinkedIn as an example, we're on there, we're commenting on posts, we're liking them, and then we get over to the message inbox and we're trying to form a relationship with individuals, and we head over to Zoom, and then we jump into the issue of like, scheduling and cancellations, and we all get frustrated with which meetings we should take, because it's hard to really read someone's profile and make that intuition decision. But what's really nice with Owl is you could read the reviews that others have left on each person's profile, and really feel comfortable, making a call to that individual. And let's say they're $10 for 10 minutes, and that person had 100 other phone calls, and everyone has raving reviews about the individual. So it really makes it very comfortable to make that call. And we're just building, rich relationships through the platform. We've had, I think we have like 20,000 reviews left on the platform by the community so far. And we just have thousands of calls happening per month right now. And we are a startup. We launched a year and a half ago approximately on the App Store, and it's just been really cool to see the amount of people posting on other socials, sharing stories that Owls made impact to their lives. Because sometimes making an impact on their business, but
Mhm.
sometimes just friendships or personal situations they're running through. Maybe they just went through a nasty divorce, and they just want a tribe that they could connect with and just share stories with and have a voice on the other end of that call. And it was really hard during COVID for a lot of people that ran into situations like that. So we're seeing a lot of personal case scenarios, like someone wants to adopt a child. We have an adoption specialist on there, for example, or they want to pick someone's brain in the nursing or medical field. So we do have medical professionals there. So we're seeing a lot of just, quick calls, 10, 20 minutes on average, and just, good opportunities blossoming. So kind of like you go, you get, you just never know what you're going to get on the other end of an hour call. You have this
I
assumption,
love that.
I'm going to call this real estate professional, but like, I don't really need real estate advice or knowledge. But then all of a sudden you're like, it had nothing to do with that. You're talking about strategy for posting on LinkedIn or TikTok or Instagram, or you're talking about a CRM system, or you're talking about music. Like it could go so many different directions. No one could showcase themselves on their LinkedIn profile or Instagram profile, with all the knowledge that they have behind the scenes. We all have so much of it. So Owl's really just bringing back the core values, what is missing on socials today, because everyone's gone so deep into the metrics of just likes and followers. And like that does not tell the story. There's so many people like me who don't even post on Instagram, right? I'm not doing that. Like I don't have enough time to use every social platform, but people immediately size you up based on your account. And we know that's not the case, right? So Owl is just good old, phone conversation, building rich relationships and connections, and at lightning speed with less friction.
So Jason, I see that Verily is on here too. Hey Verily, thanks so much for tuning in. And he says trusting yourself is key. And I wonder about, because the Owl app is this great, wonderful sort of ecosystem.
Yes.
I find in the tech world, many times we focus on entrepreneurs and people with CRMs and social media and all of this, and we leave out the business corporate leaders who might also need support. I'm dealing with this tough issue. I don't feel like I can speak to that at work. I need a safe sort of place to be able to go do that. And I wonder if, before I get to really dive into the leadership stuff, if there is any inclination on your part to really build out a community for leaders and professionals who don't currently really have that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think I just saw Simon Sinek talking about leadership skills on TikTok, and he just said you're always learning. Like it's not as easy as everyone makes it. With the changes with technology and improving and company culture, it is so hard to be a leader today. And you look at what's going on in Israel right now, and you look at like posts going on in cancel culture. It's like as a CEO or founder today, it's extremely difficult. And when we're talking about leadership, it's just like you think you have it right one day, and then the next day it changes. So what Simon was saying is like you always got to be reading books, listening to podcasts, and really talking to other leaders. Right. So when we talk about Owl, we've created something called Mentorship Mondays, where people could feel comfortable dropping their price to $1. Let's say we have this big influencer or big leader on the platform. It could be the CEO of Celsius Beverage, as an example, right? He has to sometimes, be careful going on certain platforms. It's a publicly traded company. But what's really unique is like with Owl, if it's Mentorship Mondays, he could just feel in the mood to give back, right? He's a true leader. He's ramped up his brand to astronomical numbers, going against Coke and Pepsi. No beverage, no energy drink ever makes it in that industry. And the point being is he could feel like he's given back to his community by taking calls on Owl for $1, because we all know it's not about money in his situation, right? He can go on the platform, charge $1,000 and get it. Right. But most people in his situation are like, well, how do I not devalue myself by going on here by charging $5, $10 if they just want to connect with people, because he's human too. Everyone is. Right. Sometimes you just feel like talking to someone and getting a second opinion, or you're driving your car and you just rather, have a chat versus listening to the music or podcast. Right. But with Owl, I'm just using that as an example. Like he could go live on Mentorship Mondays and say, I'm live for an hour. Call me, ask me any questions about leadership. And it's really cool because we've seen a lot of professionals take to that because there's so many people that have that knowledge, but they don't know how to provide it, right? It's not as easy as like, oh, join a group or join a college. Like colleges, have difficulties finding the right route with mentors and students, as an example. It's a consistent problem. You hear everyone say, get a mentor, but everyone's like, how do I get a mentor? Like, it's like, there's not a list to find.
Right.
And then everyone's like, it'll just show up at the right time. It's like, we hope for that, but I know I've ran 300 shows and I always ask, like, do you have a mentor? And then a lot of people say, I wish I had one, but I kind of have like some quasi ones, but a true mentor, someone that you don't pay, that you literally could just call, and they could give you a tip on a bad day, right? And pick up and be there for you. And what's unique with OWL is it's practically free. That's the point. It's $1, right? You're saying that. Here, you could call me at $1, and chat and take some knowledge. So we have, built that into the platform. We'll see where it goes and we'll see how we expand from it. But for now, it's just simple. 9 to 12 EST time zone every Monday. We post about it all the time. And we really want the community to share that knowledge and help others.
Thank you, Jason. I think that's really cool. And I want to talk about, you brought up Simon Sinek and a lot of the work that he does around leadership. And really on this show, we do a lot of leadership because I don't really care what you're doing in life. There's a leadership element and aspect to that, right? So we want to showcase and highlight that. So I want to talk now, and this will be for both you and Murray, about the challenges of when you are going for that BHAG, right? When you set your sights on something big like the OWL app, and I'm going to build this app and I'm going to build this community, and you set that big, hairy, audacious goal, oftentimes we run into something that we weren't sure we're going to run into. So I'm going to start with, what surprised you on the journey of building this community? And then Murray, I'll ask you also in building your global community, what surprised you as well? So Jason, we'll start with you.
I was just surprised how hard it was to build an app, right? To get people to download it. Often you hear, if you build a great idea that solves a problem, people flock to it and use it. And I was just really shocked that I was texting friends, texting all my past podcast guests because I had their cell phone numbers, and emailing friends and contacts and realizing like, wow, this is hard. Like they have to go to the App Store or Google Play Store, download it, then sign up, right? Everyone's like, oh, I downloaded it. I was like, but I don't see it on the app. And then I'd be with them in person, like, look, it's right here. I'm like, but you don't have a profile. So they took the effort to download it. But then they people, become lazier today. There's so many apps, there's so many websites, there's so many logins. So a lot of people just kind of like something comes up, their phone rings and then they stop that process. So I was just really shocked on, how difficult it was to get people to download. The first 1,000 people to download this app was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was so difficult. So that was the first surprise. The second would be just how nasty people can get, over basic things, right? When you look at the App Store, and we're talking about leadership and how you have to ignore the noise because you know that you're making great impact, and to ignore the negative comments. I mean, literally, like people willing, after like not getting like a password in their email, like it went to spam, obviously, right? And then they're like, couldn't get into OWL, couldn't log in, never got the password, and just like bashing us. It's like, there's a small business owner on the other side. Like, don't you have some feelings for that person? And it's like people have come to the point where like there is no feeling sometimes, and it just stinks because you're like, my heart's there, and the reviews matter so much in these stores, and people are so quick to judge, so quick, when it didn't go their way, versus just sending an email and then immediately getting a response, right? We respond to all emails within 24 hours and just saying like, it's in your spam, check it, right? Or your email is being blocked for a different reason by our third-party provider. And that's because on your end, like something occurred, right? Third-party providers block you if they think it's spam due to other website issues that you've been signing into. So it's just really interesting how quickly, and we deal with money. So the second $1 is not in someone's account, you can't believe the amount of emails that we receive over $1. And it's just like, I'm like, oh my God, like, take a breath, give a company a chance. And I think in society, like, we're seeing people just, they make a judgment call immediately overnight, and then they just want to publicly bash it. And it's just like, I think people are responding too quickly. So I've just learned that as a founder, like, just have thick skin, and don't overreact to all these comments that are coming, and really stay to the goal, and know that we have a community that's backing it up. The community, is out there posting and sharing the stories, because again, it's such a simple platform. Call someone and build a relationship and a connection. And if you did 100 of those calls, you would just have to think, like, how is it not possible to build, genuine relationships and connections? And that's why I just ignore that. I know that, like, these people don't understand it, and it's cool to see our haters become our fans. I recently saw someone who did a little bashing early on, deleted the app, and then came back and now, said the opposite. Like, hey, I really enjoy your platform way more than Clubhouse. You respond. You're a leader that's there all the time in the community. I see you active, taking calls, and I lead by example. So going back to leadership, how many times I've seen people create platforms and I'm like, but you're not using your own technology, right? So then you're telling everyone, why don't they use it? And you have excuses, but like, I have the highest call count on the platform. And it was a guy like me, on a Saturday, like I was inside my house and it was pouring outside. I never forget it. I saw you go live. So the way our app works is you follow people and get a notification when they go live. So I knew who Rhonda was, and I'm like, oh, I got to speak to her. I'm like, Julia, I'm going to run outside real quick. I got to take 10 minutes just to say hello real quick. Because if I didn't do that and you didn't get her call, you might not have really saw the true value of the platform.
Right.
So I'm just one of those leaders that just leads by example, and it's all public information. My call count's out there. Obviously, I'm live all the time on my 2 podcasts, and I'm transparent with our community, and they really enjoy that as a leader. I think people are sick of like leaders hiding and then like shifting overnight and deleting stuff, like what happened with Clubhouse, or like what just happened. Like, all my connections got deleted, and it felt like, like a snaky car salesman maneuver, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where our community is growing strong. We're going nice and slow, and we're at a good pace right now, and I can't wait to impact millions of people, because I'm sticking to the mission.
Awesome. Yeah, no, Jason, that's really cool. And when I think we could do a whole show on just the segment you talked about where people are quick to judge. I really do think, Murray, we need to do a show on that, because we
definitely.
And so I want to come to you, Murray, and ask you, as a business owner, what have you been surprised by?
Yeah, I've been surprised by the amount of attention that people really want from you when they see you as a leader. They don't really understand that as a leader you also need some boundaries, and every single problem or every single challenge, I expect you to get this time. Obviously, as a leader, you have to make the time, but you also have to be able to put some boundaries so that you lead by example, but for them to actually take action and really stay on top of their own issues and on top of whatever they're looking for, and not just having you as the central person all the time. So it has been very difficult at the beginning to really detach myself sometime from some of the people in the audience, or people who really expected me to really give the full attention to them when I had, they are over, obviously the audience was growing, and you definitely can't give, the same amount of time to anybody. You really have to, just show them the way, and they have to make them understand that they are the one actually, who have to lead. Leader doesn't mean that you have all the responses or all the answers to their problem or to their issue. They need to understand that it's just, guiding them and showing them how to do, but they have to stay independent. And that has been really the key, challenge. And like Jason was saying as well, people getting impatient when they don't get what they want. They start to be very negative and start to really gossip and, and really try to belittle the person, and which is not, which is not really what you're looking for. But you have to ignore those negative and negative, reaction, and really focus on, pushing and focusing on staying positive and focusing on the goal that you're putting for yourself and for this platform and for, what you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes you lose control, but most of the time, with time, you get really better at it.
No, thanks, Murray. No, I appreciate that. I'm going to go back to a comment for a second. Mom said, when looking at Owl, I was reminded of the song Foul Owl on the Prowl from in the Heat of the Night. So, Jason, you'll have that stuck into your head. She said she's glad to explain more about the Owl app because she wasn't quite sure what it was. And she said, of course, that was a joke. Of course, Mom, we know that. I do think, though, I want to talk a little bit about as you're going through these challenges, and we talked about leadership and we talked about negativity, is there a practice for self? Like,
Yeah.
how do you keep your head on straight so that you are not being weighed down
Yeah.
by the
Mhm.
negative that's being thrown at you and that sort of thing so that you can keep going? Because Jason, you did
Mhm.
show up on my call, and you know what? It's the reason you and I are sitting here now because that started a relationship. It
Yeah,
did.
it did.
It
It
started a
did.
relationship, and then you responded. I asked a question about my show. We had a really good financial guru coming up, and
Yeah.
I asked the audience for some feedback and what we should ask. And Jason, right? So it started that
Yes.
one phone call, started a relationship, and now we're here. And now I'm hoping that one day I can come on your podcast, and
Yeah.
one day that we get to meet in person, and all of these things as I continue to support the OWL app because I frankly
Sure.
think it's pretty cool, right, out there. So how do you stay positive, Jason? Do you have a practice, a personal self leadership practice that you use to keep yourself in the game? And Christopher says people are negative. What? Surprise!
It's one word, Rhonda. Come on. It's the name of your show.
Coffee.
Just this puts you in a good mindset, right? This keeps you positive. You could be having a bad day, drink one of those, and all of a sudden, you're like, wait, why was I paying attention to that negative comment? I'm good. But
Yeah,
it goes back to my quote. You go, you get, what you were just talking about. Like, I went out there, I called you, and then look at us now. You're
yeah,
right. I planted that seed, and I made time for you, and I gave a little bit, right? I didn't ask for anything. I gave. Right? Too many people are just like asking up front, like right off the bat. I could have been like, hey, Ron, I see you have a podcast show. Could I come on?
right.
You're like, I don't know who this person is from home. I just had a 5-minute call with him, right? But instead, I led with value. I said, hey, this is a creative question that I think you should ask him. That's not as fluffy, right? Because so often we get fluffy questions.
Yeah,
And when it comes to your question you asked me about being positive, let's not sugarcoat this. And I'm one of those transparent types. It's hard, right? You have cycles as a startup founder, and especially a mobile app, right? Any mobile app just has ups and downs because you're dealing with Apple and the Google Play Store that set their own rules and they change them overnight, and then that could make a major ripple impact to your entire platform. It also could be very costly out of the blue, right? Laws change out of the blue that require you to make changes on your platform. And um, I have bad days, right? I could comfortably tell you, like yesterday, I was in a funk, and I was like, why am I in a funk? Like nothing's bad in my life right now, but it was like up here. So something I do, I'll just share like my personal day-to-day routine, because that's how I try to do it to stay out of a funk. I personally wake up every day at 6:45, and I'm 10 minutes later, I'm running laps around my pool. Right, my neighborhood probably looks at me and like, what's this guy doing? He's always just running in a circle. It's a quiet jog. I listen to some music and I jog, right? And then I jump in the pool for 15, 20 minutes. So that my routine, does not stop. I do not want to jump in that pool every day. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't. Today I did not want to do it because I had a bad day yesterday, but I got it. I'm going to be on a podcast. And it's going to put me in a better mindset. So right at the bat is just like making sure you get physical activity. When I have physical activity, I find my day goes better. And just have the discipline. We never want to do it, right? I never want to jump in that pool every day, but I just know like I have to have the discipline, to get in that pool every morning. And it gets cold in January in Florida, so sometimes it's in the 50s, and I jump in that pool. So point being is like stay into a routine. Too many people are jumping and flopping from their routine all the time. I try to go to sleep at a reasonable time, and I really am scheduled out. I make sure that I put my more important things in the mornings, like this podcast, because in the afternoon I would be tired. We did this podcast at 3:00. You would have been like, Jason was okay, right? If I did 11, you're like, he's got a lot of energy, right? So I make it a point to prioritize my meetings, but I also leave time for family. I'm not one of those absentee fathers that's working all the time. People think that. They're like, you are workaholic. I'm like, you don't even know my other side. You're making a judgment. Every Friday night I have dinner with my family. I get home at 6:00-ish, or we meet in Meisner Park in Boca. And then the whole weekend I'm with the family. And yes, I could take a minute to do a call on Al because instant, right? And take 20 minutes while my kids are playing video games or something, right? So the point I'm making is just like, it all starts with the right schedule, the right people around you. Everyone knows that, right? That are also positive, but they have bad days too. So when people say that quote is like, have awesome people around you, it's like those awesome people have bad days as well, right? They have relationships and they come into the office and they need some coffee to brighten up their day. So my whole thing, I mean, you see all these motivational quotes up on the board here. Those are autographs from our past guests that have come on our show. And I just try to ignore noise and always just bite my tongue. I find that biting your tongue is the hardest thing on emails when you know the person is wrong, right? You know it, but you're like, thanks for your patience, and I hope you have a great day. We're doing the best to try to improve the platform. We have bugs, and everyone's, again, expectations is Instagram or Facebook, right? That experience that, people are not seeing, that has been poured billions of dollars into development, billions with a B, right? When a startup comes out, they're usually like 100,000 to 300,000 for a mobile app, right? And everyone expects like, where are all these features? I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm like, that costs millions. Bear with us. We'll get there one day, but we have to start, with a proven concept and a model. So, it's just trying to always position yourself in good environments. I don't drink alcohol during the week. I get a drink coupon on a Tuesday night for an event I participated at. And I went and got a seltzer, right? So a lot of people, can't help themselves to get that alcoholic drink. But I'm like, I have a podcast the next morning. If I have that one drink, it's going to make me this much worse on the show the next morning. Mm-hmm. I don't drink Monday through Friday. So it's just prioritizing your life, right? And putting yourself in good environments, right? If you're putting yourself in an environment at 3 a.m. every Friday night and Saturday night, and then trying to wake up on a Monday to do business, you can't tell me and bullshit me that it's going to go well on Monday morning if you have a big meeting. So I really prioritize, situations and my schedule, and I do have to say no a lot. And it's hard because everyone has FOMO. You want to do things, there's cool conventions to go to, and you have to say no sometimes. Yeah. And things cost money. So you got to be very careful. So I also make sure that I'm doing the right things financially, which is why most things fail. Of course, we know that. Yeah. Like 99% of things fail because of money issues.
So you definitely said a lot there. And one of the things that keeps coming up, right? The judgments that we make of other people. You're a workaholic and all of these things because you're putting your standard on them. We do need to do a show on that. It's on my list now. It's on my radar now. I've got it dialed in.
It has to happen.
Yes, Christopher says, bingo. Yes, lead with value. That's key, and give first. Absolutely. So, Murray, I'm going to do the Greatness Minute. And when we come back, I want you to tell us about how you lead yourself in those challenging moments through times. How do you move past when someone is being judgmental or maybe as Jason just said, they're just wrong, right? And how do you keep yourself up here? So let's go and do your Greatness Minute, and then we'll come back to talk about that.
everyone. This is Mariah, the Greatness Engineer, with you today. Welcome to the Greatness Minute. I want to stress out today the importance of staying focused. And staying focused requires you to have clarity in your purpose, in your mission, and have a plan. And when you have that, I encourage you to not get distracted by anything else and stay focused, because greatness requires focus. I mean, you're going to disappoint people on your way to greatness, because people will try to bring their ideas, to try to sidetrack you. But don't say yes if those things are not aligned with your purpose and your mission. Say no. And that's simple, because if you're not, you'll be completely sidetracked, and it might actually cost you your greatness. So that's all I wanted to share with you. Remember, say no to things that are not aligned with your mission and your purpose. Thank you for being with us. See you next time.
All
Yeah.
right, good stuff.
So that's your answer. You really have to stay focused and have this me time that help you to reconnect with yourself, and really understand that whatever people say, it's always linked to them. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be you being whatever they say. It's really their own experience that they're basically projecting on you. And when you understand that, you're able to take a back seat and really come with the right narrative, and confront them if that's what's needed to communicate with them and make them understand, what you're all about, what are your values, what is your purpose, and why you are really, what you're trying to accomplish. And then I think you can actually, end all those kind of things. So the key thing is really spend time with yourself, because that's gonna be the key thing, being able to manage yourself when this negativity is coming to you. You really have to believe in yourself, and reiterate in your mind what you're trying to accomplish, and tell yourself that this is just noise, and you don't have to really put a lot of attention to that. You can address it, but it's not really the most important, as you journey toward your purpose.
Absolutely. No, I think it's true. Focus and discipline. Jason, you have a
Mm-hmm.
routine, all of that. One of the things I'll add about staying positive and creating a positive space is if I'm having a bad day, it's my bad day. I,
Mm-hmm.
I have no desire to have everyone else have a bad day by me regurgitating it all day long, or putting it on everyone else, or
Yeah.
mistreating people because I'm feeling bad. It's my bad day, and I need to
Mm-hmm.
deal with that, and I need to own that. So it's one of the things. There are very few people that get to know that I'm having a bad day, because it's mine. I need to own that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's regarding my team or something like
Yeah.
that I need to address as leadership, I can share that I may be frustrated or whatever, and we're
Mm-hmm.
solutioning as we're moving forward. But I think that's a little bit different. But just sort of having everyone else have a bad day because you're having a bad day, I think is the opposite, I think, of self leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Mom said, what did she say? I agree with Jason about doing all kinds of things, and then going to work thinking that you're going to do a great job, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really about you and your choices that you're making. So I want to ask now, as we're, Jason, you are in the tech space, and
Mm-hmm.
it's, I think, a really challenging place to be. Murray is an engineer, right? So how do you um, build feedback in? So you said you get a lot of feedback on the app. How do you prioritize what is going to become a priority for the app and for you as the founder, with giving all of the feedback that you're getting? Because, and here's why I ask for context.
Yeah.
I talk to leaders a lot about feedback, and I say feedback is all around us 365, right? Feedback is not only when I am specifically asking you for feedback. Feedback is if people are not using the app. What are they saying when they're using the app? What did they say after the app? I may ask you nothing, and I still come out with a ton of feedback. So how are you, Jason, prioritizing and using feedback?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say a funny quote, and it's definitely not PG right now because somebody just put it on my desk. It's not obviously about the bad for you; it's more about opinions. But opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink. So when it comes to like feedback, everyone's like telling you this, that. They're all telling your opinion. They're all criticizing your app, and sometimes you're not asking. Like lots of times, I'm like, you got to meet this person, and they never even downloaded the app, and they're just like, Jason, you should do this, you should do that. I'm like, you just saw a video on a website about an app. How do you know that we're not like what if we're doing bad? Like who's told you we're doing bad? Like where's this coming from? We're doing great. And I'm like, I thought we were just meeting and networking. I'm like, I didn't ask for your opinion, right? So you end up getting a ton of feedback because people can't help themselves, and they look at it from their lens of like how to, and they're trying to be helpful, of course, but sometimes you're not asking, But when it comes to like feedback from our actual community, like that's the stuff you're talking about of like,
Yeah.
hey, you should update this feature, that feature, right? Of course, you always see me killing everyone with kindness. Right off the bat, I say thank you so much. Appreciate you giving us feedback, and we add it to a list, right? And then I'm always looking at the list. If we ever release to the App Store, let's say every quarter approximately, we release something with new updates, and pretty much we have to make an intuition decision. What would be best for our community right now? Is it, getting text messages, when you miss a call, right? We added that last quarter to improve it. So that way the visibility was better because sometimes people didn't see the notification that they missed a call. So that was a major, little thing that had made improvement. Requesting that someone could call you back. That was like 8 months ago. That was great. So now if you miss a call, you'd be like, hey, I missed it by accident. I had, ran to the bathroom, but I saw I got a missed call notification or a text now. Now you could just hit a button and request them to ring you again. Life happens, right? So we just really, we have a team of engineers, developers, and we meet every single morning. 8:30 in the morning, I am on that call. We're going through the board of what they're building, what the updates are, and I never miss a meeting because I'm in my car. I drive my kids to school, so I'm always in the car anyway. So I'm doing it on Zoom in the car on audio, and pretty much we just talk about it. We have a team of people saying this is what we believe is the priority, but of course I have the final say. So, I have the intuition to go quick, because it's not, a huge company with lawyers. When people say, Jason, like, are you concerned about LinkedIn building this? I go, of course I'm concerned, but it's going to take them 3 years to do it. Right, because it's got to go through boardroom after boardroom of meetings and lawyers, and with an app like ours with money, like there's going to be a lot of meetings. So, when I look at feedback, I take it all serious and I just put it on a list, and that's important because a lot of times people get feedback, but they never put it on a list, and then they forget, and then the people in the community lose trust in the platform. Like I give them all this feedback, and they never see anything ever happening. Not on our app. In our app, we have a community group on Facebook. And I post, I go, what do you guys think about, the top bar? And that was only like 3 weeks ago. If you think about it, I was like, should we put Owlet at the top? And I said, no, let's just keep it simple. I'm like, I'm interested in. And we got a lot of feedback and we went with that. So sometimes I'm doing intuition decisions, and sometimes I'm really asking the community. Even this logo, it's on that side. The owl logo, like it was, a little chubbier. It was a little different looking, and the community on LinkedIn helped us back then before, made it to the App Store. So I really believe in getting feedback, but you got to be careful. So here's the thing. People sometimes take too much feedback and they want to impress everyone and be nice to everybody, and they do too much. Most technologies fail because they do too much, right?
Exactly.
And our app is a great example. Like, hey, when could you add text to it so I could charge for text messages? The next, like, could we have a chat feature in the app? Then it's, can we do video in the app? Can we do intro app calls in the app? Right? There's so many things you could add to our platform that obviously you could see after your first phone call that could be done on our platform. And I always say, like, it will come, but we have to first build our core, users, and then in our community. And then one day we'll see what's important, and we'll go down the line. Because right now we want to just keep it basic. What I've learned from my podcast, listening to all entrepreneurs, that simple things scale. And when you overcomplicate things, it ends up actually hurting the results. When you look at In-N-Out Burger, right? It's still so simple. The menu's simple. And then when you go to certain restaurants where it's like, it's other than cheesecake, they're the only ones that get away with this. But like most restaurants, they have too many things, and it's just like you end up having a bad experience. You order the wrong thing, and you get frustrated what you should do. But the simplest businesses end up scaling that solve a problem, and we're solving a problem. People are having trouble connecting. There's too many guards up today. There's too much friction in the inbox, and I can't tell you how many influencers I met, and I'm like, what do you do with all these messages? And the answer is always the same. I can't possibly go through them all. Like, I get so many. I go, so what do you do? They do nothing. I go, so you're sitting there telling me, like, if we want, there's potentially $100,000 opportunities in your inbox from a big brand saying we'd love to partner with you as brand ambassador. It goes gone. The brands aren't going to chase. Like, no way. If we're paying for talent, we're not chasing, right? So Owl actually helps all of that out, because now if you're an influencer, you could say, hey, you could always find me on Owl, and then that way the right people will call them, because it's not about the money. It's about the relationship. It's about the connection. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really awesome. I think I want to do something now. I want to do our top two now, and then we're going to come back and ask our final question as we get to wrap up. But so I do this top two, and at times I'll have this question and give you an opportunity to respond with your top two. So today's question I'm going to ask, and then we're going to come back and answer it on the other side. So I thought this one was funny. So if you could eliminate a food, so no one could ever eat it again because you think it's awful, you think no one should ever eat it, what would that food be? And in this case, you can give me a top one or two. So think about that for a moment. And on the other side, we're going to do, if you could eliminate any food that you believe no one else should ever eat, what food would that be? And we'll come back and answer right after this. All right, Murray, let's start with you. If you could eliminate,
This is very hard, and I'm going to have some enemy today because I'm pointing out to this fruit that they call durian in Malaysia. The smell is so, it's so strong. And for me, no way I will, eliminate this food from my diet. But please, my Malaysian friends, please don't don't hurt me.
well, now they know that you don't want it, so at least maybe they'll stop offering it, right? So that's great. Thank you.
I heard that it's very, it's very tasty, but the smell is just so difficult. And yeah. The second one, I don't actually know really. Maybe beef. I don't like beef, so maybe beef is one thing that I would just ban completely. So that's all. The rest, all good.
Okay. All right, Jason.
This is hard. You're putting me on
Yeah.
the spot. I'm like going through my mind of like what food. It's like we know it's horrible for us, but we keep going back. Right. And it's hard because like as a kid, like I love Burger King, the good old chicken sandwich, but I know it's so bad for me. Right. And then soda, but if we were to eliminate, if we're going to count soda, right? I think soda is doing so much damage to everyone.
Really?
I kick soda. I drink a Diet Coke or two, probably a month now. Like I love it, but I do think just going to water and seltzer. I did a 75-day hard challenge where I drink a gallon of water a day, and it really improved things, right? And I just look at it as like, we try to, do all these crazy things for health all the time, and it's simple. Again, going back to simple things scale. Well, simple things in life make your mindset better, and it's drinking water, right? So I think if we could just eliminate like the basic Diet Coke, and Coca-Cola products and syrups in there and just like stick into that, we would all be better as a society. So I think that because that then leads to junk food eating, right? Then we eat more candy bars and chocolate and and they're on every single corner, and then you just want to keep snacking. So I would say soda would be the elimination to help society out.
All right. I'm not
A
even.
food though. It's a drink, so I kind of
Well, I
answered it.
mean, well, if that's what you got, it's cool. That's the best thing about this
Coffee.
question, right? You can answer however you want. I think for me, the thing that I'm gonna eliminate is spam. I'm like, what is this stuff? I don't even I don't even know what it is. It's in this can. It's just weird. I'm just like, okay, no. And it is the food in Hawaii. It is the thing, right? Everything is in
Mm.
spam. It's all over Hawaii, and I get it. I guess the import and it's preserved and all of that stuff. But I'm like, why are we eating this?
What is that? I never heard of spam.
I don't even know what it's like. Some processed mushed together meats or something. I don't
Looks
know.
like
Oh,
ham.
okay.
Chunks of ham. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm gonna, and then the second thing for me is raw oysters. Nobody can ever eat raw oysters. Now,
I
mind you,
like raw oysters.
Yeah, some people love those.
I'm only speaking from my lens. I'm like, I don't even want to see people eat it. Okay, I'm just like, ugh, if you're gonna eat it, you've got to.
It's delicious with lime or lemon.
I can't do it. I can't do the raw oysters. All right, and so Christopher said, drinking pure fresh water. Is that what you're going to eliminate? What are you going to eliminate? Eliminate insects for protein. That is true. There are a lot of places that eat insects and
Crickets. And there are rats as well. Rats.
yes. I
People
mean,
eat
I guess
rats as
if you
well.
fry it and cover it in chocolate, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Uh, and then Wendy, so we missed a message chat earlier from Wendy who said it's all about connection. Love that. So let's go to our final wrap up as we move forward. And uh, what? All right, mom said snake meat because they eat rats. Mom
Mhm.
wants to eliminate snake meats. Ooh, what is snake? I don't know. I can't. Ugh. I should probably ask a different question because now I'm just all queasy.
We
I'm
have
just thinking about
crocodile
this stuff. Like,
crickets.
okay, so as we wrap up and move forward, leadership is a big part. As I mentioned earlier, of accomplishing any goals. Oh, we need to take our coffee shot also. So our wrap up question for today is really going to be: what do you what where do you go from here as a leader? I think all of us, um, leadership is not an arrival; it's a
Mhm.
journey. And so, Jason, I'm going to ask you, and Maria, I'm going to ask you, what do you need as leaders? Like, what do you need to help you continue to grow and move forward to do the big things that you're doing? You're both doing big things, having huge community impact. What do you need in order to continue making that happen? But let's answer that as we wrap up. Let's do that as a part of our wrap up and what's in your cup. So the first thing we need to do is take our coffee shots. All right, got it. Thank you.
I've been blocking my face.
Oh, wait. What's your coffee?
One more.
All right, got it. All right. And so, all right. So, this is our What's in Your Cup segment. And this
Mhm.
segment, you'll be able to share, Jason, what you want people to do after this show. Do you want them to go and download the app and then give them an element of leadership also about that? And then, our final wrap up question is, as you think about where you are as a leader, what do you need to continue doing big things in your life? Because we all need something, right? So we'll do that as we come back at the end of our little intro
Mhm.
segment here, and we'll do our What's in Your Cup. All right. Our What's in Your Cup segment. If you're out there listening, I hope we have put something good for you to take away in your cup, including being sure that you go check out the OWL app, start connecting with people right away. But Marae, let's come to you first and have you talk about sort of number one, what you take away from our conversation. And then number two, in terms of your own personal leadership, is there anything
Mhm.
that you see for yourself?
I think the key thing that I take away, because we talked a lot about how we manage negativity as, as leaders, and really understand that we are in control. We don't have to take it, personally. And most of those negative, outcome are linked to the people who are making those negative, remark, or and it's not about us, it's about them. So really clearly understand that we need to communicate with them, and really show the way, the positivity that we bring in, in everything that we do. And as a leader, really for me, is to create more leaders. I don't want to have, followers all the time. For me, it's really understanding whatever I bring, whatever I do, whatever, people take from me, it's going to help them to, because I talk a lot about greatness, it's going to help them to grow. It's going to help them to go to the next level of their greatness, and they're not going to stagnate and continue to be this negative voice that is really behind you and following you and trying to really, fit somewhere, but really having them to believe in themselves, to become leaders themselves.
Yeah, no, Murray, I love that. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that. Jason, what about you? What do you hope people take away from the conversation? And then for you, what do you see for yourself in terms of your leadership needs?
Yeah. So when it comes to the leadership, kind of going back to what we said earlier, is just connect with like-minded individuals and
Mhm.
continuously learn from what they're going through and formulate your own style. I think we're in a society where everyone's trying to copy everybody, but you're not like that other person sometimes. Like, I'm not Simon Sinek, right? Like, the guy's a genius. He could, the way he speaks on stage, I see his leadership skills. I'm like, he's amazing. And the way he looks at outcomes so differently than the average person, right? When I look at myself, I am who I am, right? I say it's like, just, run with who you are, and be positive, and have confidence that that's the route you will take. So when it comes to me, is I just have the confidence to say, like, I could ignore everybody because I know they don't know me enough. They don't know the true person I am. The people who are on our platform do, and we have a tribe of people who will say, "Oh, Jason, easy to get in touch with, responds with etiquette. Jason, is there for the community and takes our feedback serious. Jason, is trying to impact millions of people the right way." So when I look at that as a sum, it's just that people with social media see highlight reels, of course, and they try to be people they're not. And it comes across. You could see those people when they're faking it a little bit. It comes right out of their mouth, like the words, boundaries you hear all the time now on social media, right? Or like the way, like, college isn't important. Like, well, that came from Grant Cardone, right? Like, just like certain things, or Gary Vee, like, but it's taken out of context a lot. And when someone else says it, it doesn't come off the tongue properly. So I'm
Mhm.
just a big believer in taking knowledge from a lot of people and making it your own, and just having etiquette. I think etiquette is a lost art today. When it comes to responding, I think when you look at when you sent
Mhm.
me emails for this podcast, and you said, Jason, I need a headshot, I need a bio, I immediately returned it to you. I didn't
Yeah.
wait for you to ask me 14 times, and I didn't make it a hassle, because you're giving me this opportunity, this stage, to share my voice and the story of Owl, of course. So I just think too many people are just not realizing, like, other people's time is valuable,
Mhm.
and you have to just lead by example as a community leader. And that's why my call volume is so high, my emails, and pretty much even the responses with this coming up to the show, I respond like, yep, can't wait for tomorrow. Like, those takes 1 second to
Yeah.
reply to email. We are addicted to this cell phone, and I just don't understand how people are late and cancel on people, and they just can't text them. How many times I've been on a
Mhm.
meeting where I cancel a meeting like this show, and I'm like, got to get off at a certain time. I have a Zoom meeting coming up. I go on the Zoom, and they're not there, and they show up 20 minutes behind. I'm sorry, I was on another meeting and ran behind. I go, you could have sent me an email. You had my
Right.
cell phone. You could have sent me a text message. You could have called me. You had my phone number. It's everywhere on my emails. And I just can't understand the excuses anymore. So as a leader, it's just leading by example, and it's just being transparent. And I'm such a believer in giving, and creating opportunities for others, and of course it comes back bigger than you ever imagined often.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Jason, thank
mhm.
you. And so tell them how they can download and get the OWL app.
Yes, so head right over to the App Store or Google Play Store. Owl is spelled with two W's and two L's. And once you sign up, use your email, your password. It's going to ask you for a referral. You're going to put in coffee. It's as simple as that. And when you put in coffee, you will receive a $10 bonus. So that way you get in the app, you'll see the home screen. There's all live experts that you could speak with. And of course, if there's experts that are not available, you follow them and get a notification. And most people are $10. You call new people at $1 and get 10 opportunities to build 10 relationships. Then, if you'd like, become an expert so you could take calls as well. And what we'll do,
Mhm.
we'll have a little fun. If you made it to the end of this episode and you
Mhm.
call Rhonda, right, and post on LinkedIn what you learned from having a conversation with Rhonda, I will put a $10 bonus in your account. Email us at feedback@owl.com and just share a story, right? Because I really want the stories to be heard. And when you say like, what would I like from the community? It's like share the stories. What's missing with Owl sometimes is people, can't believe it. They're like, no, this is another like push to just try to get someone $10 in their account because we give a $10 for a friend thing going on right now. And too many people are like, yeah, but does it really work? Is just people just referring people to get money in their account? I go, no, you have to hear the stories. When you have people that have done 100 phone calls and opportunities have blossomed, it's amazing. 8 people met in Canada. Our app is predominantly United States, of course, and 8 people met in Canada 2 weeks ago because they all met on the Owl app. And that shows you the power
Mhm.
of the human connection. And I really want these stories to be shared. I can't tell you how many people keep them private. They text me, they email me, and I'm like, no, like tell people, like, we want others to join so that way, the community blossoms, in the next 12 months and more people could take us up on this opportunity to connect with each other, of course. So, yep,
That's
go to the App Store.
awesome. All right, go to the App Store, use coffee for your referral code, give me a call. We'll have a conversation. You post that on LinkedIn, and then you get a bonus $10 in your account. So I'll clip that also and put it on our social feed so people understand what to
Yes.
do there. So thanks everybody for joining us. I think for me, my final takeaway is going to be my last drop for today. And my last drop today is anything big you dream of accomplishing begins with leadership from the inside out. It starts with you knowing who you are, where you're going, what you want, what your values are, how you want to serve. That all starts from the inside. And then when you
Mhm.
understand that, it can manifest on the outside. So I am really looking for a couple of last minute comments here. Mom said, great show. Rhonda, you were great as usual. Thank you. Marae shines when helping hold down the show. Jason, love your app ideas. And missing Roz today. And then Christopher said, value rich show, everyone. And we teach people how to treat us. I think that's a fitting into the show. So, for everybody out there watching, we certainly appreciate you being with us. For my guest and my co host, stay tuned for just a second. For everyone else out there, thank you for joining and watching another episode of the Coffee with Rhonda show. We look forward to seeing you back here next week, same time, same station. Until then, everyone, take good care.